Good morning, everyone. Or good evening, everyone, I should say. Or good morning for those of you who are working third shift, or
Mm,
something like that. It is Stone Soup Poetry time, the last Stone Soup Poetry of National Poetry Month.
mm,
Congratulations to those of you who actually did a little bit of writing during National Poetry Writing Month. The challenge is 30 poems in 30 days. Tomorrow is the finishing poem, whatever you stopped or started at. Congratulations to you, and thanks to everyone for coming out for this month's features. The person who I thought was going to be featuring this week is actually featuring next week, Harris Gardner on the 6th, and I'm hoping to announce I have one other person locked in, and one person about to be locked in, and one person I have to ask. So I should be making announcements later this weekend as long as there's no emergencies in my end. I'm looking forward to that, and thanks to everyone, Jason Wright, Robert Fiore, and Diane Sams for their wonderful features. And now we're going to get started, and we might actually do a workshop sometime in June. We're going to try and bring that back. Maybe we can take our the poems that we wrote for April and work on them in the weeks to come. But for now, we'll continue with the open mic. So welcome one and all. Welcome one and everyone. Let's start off with oh, I just noticed that Jackie got kicked off again.
mm.
She
Problem.
might have actually gotten kicked off a while ago. So hopefully, let me just check to see if she's trying to get in touch with me on another social media platform. Nope. Hopefully she'll make it back in. We'll see how that goes. And chances are, at least one or two of you have been published in Stone Soup this month. That's just how it works when we do the writer artist features. I'm going to welcome up someone who's published very recently with a tribute poem, one which she read last week. Let's bring her up now, Rita Rusty Rose.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Thank you.
Mm.
I guess I'll start with that one again. I know a lot of you heard it. Jackie didn't hear it, and Jan. I think John McMullen passed away. He was a friend, a dear friend. I just came back from his wake. We traveled up in Croton on the Hudson, and he just was an amazing poet. And I wrote this poem really quick. He loved, just to say, he loved Charles Bukowski, not everything. And all I have to say
Mhm.
about the poem is that when Charles Bukowski wasn't drunk or when he couldn't hold down a job, he had a temporary job in a pickle factory. So keep that in mind. I want to thank
Mm.
Chad and Stone Soup and Oddball Magazine for publishing it. And just so you know, everyone here, I had a big basket from the poetry community at the head of John's casket. That's from all of us. So
Mm.
I guess I put it up if it works, Chad, so everybody could see what I wrote. Eh, Let's see. Oh, I have to send a
Give me
request.
1 second. I will.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, you just did. Okay, good.
And I'll keep talking, but I just moved by everybody's out love for John. Bukowski's got nothing on you. Johnny Mack hosts a dynamic radio internet show. It features poets and personalities, moi included. His podcast carries more content than Charles Bukowski's unwieldy mailbag. The Dirty Poet stanzas stack like sorted mail. Words are static and snaily. Johnny Mack's delivery is instantaneous, has weight, and resonates with life. Simply said, Johnny Mack, Bukowski's got nothing on you. John is a techno guru. He designs, secures, and sorts data. The Angry Bard's specialty is hard drinking and separating dills from gherkins.
Mm.
Literary artisan McMullen finds relaxation in a few beers at the neighborhood bar. The other? He is boorish and disorderly, lives for dirty barroom fights. If they were competing at a poetry slam, Charles' words would be crass and silver, while John's a precious gold. Simply said, Johnny Mac, Bukowski's got nothing on you. Poets McMullen and Bukowski are diametrically opposed when it comes to women and life, yet they do align in poetic eloquence and style. Persistent threads stitch their poems together. In verse, these two wordsmiths' love for poetry is a sensibility shared. And to bring this poem to a head, this is a sample of their approach. My soul has bled on every page with nothing left to hide. As a bird, I am free, uncaged. So do not berate or act snide. For if what I write makes you scoff, then close the goddamn book and fuck the hell off. Simply said, Johnny Mac, Bukowski's got nothing on you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita. Who am I going to bring up next? Let's go with our visual poet from Delaware. We were talking about art during the preamble ramble to the show, so let's get some more visuals up.
Thank you, Chad. Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming. I'm a digital artist and visual poet from Lewis, Delaware, and I'm going to share the screen. So for the second year, I'm participating in the Massachusetts Poetry Olympics. There are 4 forms to submit in: eulogy, villanelle, sonnet, and free verse. So in the first round, I will share 2 of them, and then I will come back. I think most of the people here know where Massachusetts is. It's in the upper right of the United States. And where I have my pointer is right near the Atlantic Ocean is where I went to school in Waltham, Massachusetts at Brandeis from 1980 to 84. And after school, I remained in Boston for about 5 years, and I was a journalist for the Boston Globe. And this is the eulogy poem, Porn No More. Some call me porn. I prefer desire. Playboy Inc. shot me to be a Playboy bunny. I prefer a centerfold. Printed on coated gloss, I prefer a photograph. My staples torn, scotch taped inside a locker, puttied on jail cell cement blocks, nipples licked above seed, HTML parsed to zeros and ones. Now I'm crumpled in jealousy, under kindling firewood, camping trip toilet paper, 0 WW views, deleted trash, page not found. Miss May 1982 is no more. And that is for the eulogy. Here is the second one, which is the villanelle, which I wrote this week. My research about the villanelle said the best subject to write is one of obsession. So that's what I did. And, okay, I'll just read it. Cuckoo, compulsive, and coro am I. I must keep my pubic bone attached to my penis. Beware, beware, the cock snatchers. Promise to keep my secret between us. My attack and defense are my weakness. Between the sidewalk cracks, the shafters survey. I must keep my pubic bone attached to my penis. My member seeds every woman in Woburn. I must bring forth the next voter roll. Don't blab my secret. Keep it between us. Ding dong, red rods ring the alarm menace. After a frothy pint, my pecker flows Joan. I must keep my pubic bone attached to my penis. Your reward for keeping mum is a Guinness. One day, me and my dick will live alone. Keep on keeping my secret between us. Pushing Peter into the net is my favorite part of tennis. Following the Johnson rules are my strength. I must keep my pubic bone attached to my penis. Bless you, you kept my secret between us. Thank you for letting me share what will be my first 2 submissions to the Massachusetts Poetry Olympics.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. And let's go over to Jacqueline Bookchester. Unmute. There you go.
Okay. I'm nervous. Okay, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read the first poem, "The Exploits," and then there's another poem I wrote. I just started writing poetry, after a long time. And then the next one's called "Proclivities," and then I did a short little AI help with AI. I had a conversation with AI. And we talked about my poem. I posted it and we talked about my poem. And then we highlighted sort of how I was responding to the feedback that I was getting. So I did that. So I'll start with "The Exploits." Quantifiers of adversity, opportunists at helms and beginnings, on precipices and injunctions involving another, coming to terms to take advantage of adversarial prose, taking sides, aligning, antagonizing, also apropos. These are not opposites. Exploitation doesn't need a qualifier to explain what comes next, to have an emotional response, to pinpoint what it is. And now this is "Proclivities," which is a bird dance, and a lone bird that's watching the bird dance. They're both on the tree and the limbs. And I got, because it's hard to know what it's about. The final one will explain it a little more. Proclivities. Glare where the shadows casted, the sun glaring through the trees. The glare that happens when there's no birds on the trees. There's nothing blocking the sunlight. Glare where the shadows casted, limbs and extremities hold promise. Upon the shade, the starkness, a stem to conjoin. Twisted feathers quill a self-conscious oblivion, notwithstanding contention, abounding between multitudes. A sentient anomaly refracts. Distinct from nation flickering artifices, the populace bathes. Flown from the landscapes with topic-savvy implications, absence is quickly overshadowed, leaving the stem to flourish. Sun-drenched feathers through shade amidst, sparkling in plenty remembrance, ennobling the arguments, the armament of togetherness. And then this is after the argument of light. The bird stays twisted in its feathers, not waiting for the communal bath. The glare between the branches transfers the shadows that are cast through the flock into a cave. Here, shadow dancing is abstract and embarrassing to dance alone. Debt in shallow waters wait in the periphery. It's not proving it belongs. It's untying the shelter of judgment, making sense alone in a shallow pool of its own light, the self-conscious oblivion behold. That's the AI helped me with that, explaining the poem in another poem called A Companion Poem. That's it.
Thank you, Jackie. I'd like to bring up next Black Seed writer and Stone Soup patron, Jan Rowe.
Hi, this is actually, remember when we were across from the barking crab for a while?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long it was, but this is kind of from then. Informant to divine destroy. Michael Mickey Adam Windecker II. Who threw that pie? Favorite Three Stooges running around the scary house. Balloon attached, runs past mirror, sees the balloon, is scared more. Well, here's some violence. Informant Michael Mickey Adam Windecker II. His task was to promote violence and division among Black Lives Matter. So he was successful. 70 officers were injured. Many more protesters were hurt. He entrapped a real Black Lives Matter activist. He got Mickey a gun as Mickey Windecker, a felon, couldn't get one. Now, why is he a felon? Well, for protection orders against him. One man claimed that Mickey Windecker II threatened to kill him and his family. Another, he stuck a gun in a woman's face and claimed to be a police officer. When his third wife went to get her mail after they separated, she said Mickey Windecker II grabbed her by the neck, threw her against a table, and pulled a gun on her. She said he went to fight ISIS, but others wanted nothing to do with him as he took a lot of vacation time and he liked to take pictures with dead bodies. So that's informant felon Mickey Adam Windecker II, who was driving a hearse. And then I recently realized those who use these informants are just like them, our top government. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Let's bring up next Mr. Richard Spizak.
Thank you very much, my friends. I'm going to take you to the beach for a little glimpse of American justice, a la the DOJ. This is called Comey One, Comey All. We shall say there was a photo taken on the beach that made all those rough-hewn, dumpy Trumpers shudder in disbelief. Of that photo taken by Jim Comey, some can only shake their heads and say, baloney. But nevertheless, the Trump Just Us Department has mounted to a frenzied gypsy tizzy and offered charges that they hope to enlarge and press. Across the desert, they tried a dromery again and again, but most declined to prosser. Vainglorious they stood, and all the while up to no good with nary an apology. They closed Trumpers strove to shout him down, but the Justice Department could only find an incompetent clown who'd play mock dress up and try haphazardly to fess up and cook the books and right be racy thought crime, but once again they find, well, they can only present a hopeless, hapless joke. Another toke. If wishes were shellfishes, they might have had a chance to read, but the declining, defining tide came in, so all the fishes gathered and grinned. The judge decided he coincided and collided yet again. He's overridden objection, stuffed and huffed the jury into a bus to convene the court at a nearby resort. So for good and all, and that in the midst of a summer night, y'all dragged the jurors down to the tidal suicidal horror show each and every juror wanted and needed to know just what sustained damage held. You might have felled that fella there. They even had to cart the chairs. What long-term damage has been sustained, and who did? The injured parties still remain. Comey one, Comey all, and he brought the corporate press along. The leggy stenographer wore her best sarong. It might have gone so very wrong. But though the nation's district court refused to be misused and pursued the imaginary enemy's sandy shoes. It wasn't at all a total loss, though. The attorneys made out like bandits, rest assured. I'll not hear another word. This total case the judge declared absurd. But he had demanded the prosecutor explain how the seashell scribe sustained some lasting damage effect, or was it like the tide? Does she remain suspect? Oh, good God, who suspected that there as a rich moonlight revealed the missing shell message that special night? But lacking any and all appeal, he dismissed the case with prejudice to reveal he called the bailiff to provide the unguided missile of a prosecutor to, hey, go take a ride. The cause with great contempt, the prosecutor and his bosses went for an extended stay in the Hooskow in some Arizona tent. And with that kind of know-how, the judicial savvy shown by Reza Pahlavi, they might have found a clue the time proclaimed in justice's name for the crime of misuse of law, like the spring thaw so long expected across the Antarctic's icy maw. They should not expect quick release, though, until 3033 at least, and carried thus on the unsteady beast of their wits, any further argumentation would court disaster, so that they should resist.
Lovely, Richard. Thank you. Oyster.
If there's
Up
time for one
next.
more shorty, if I may
Oh,
abuse
sure.
big offices, this is a piece that I break out from time to time when the world's a little nervous. I call this my support Stegosaurus. I need my special support Stegosaurus. The Politico News informs us the plates on his back protect us all from attack. The spikes on his tail protect without fail. His cranium so thinneth is useful for getting ineth under doorways into meetings that wouldn't otherwise be even seeneth. But the thing I can contest, and surely you can't distendeth, old Steggy is leggy, and the plates on his spine will gentle your mind with their glimmer and shimmer and shine, like a goblet of finely claret or some other such wine with a savory salad, easing all lethargy, erasing and ministering each misery mine. Mr. Steggy is leggy and hard to refuse, and a demon with a deltaphonic blues. BB studied with him so devastating, and betwixt us both they're both sure to win. Thank you so much. And I urge you to try my support Stegosaurus, if you get the point. Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And someone I was looking for open mics where they allow longer poems, say 5 minutes. And coincidentally, this person was also published today in Oddball Magazine as part of the Writer Artist Tribute Series. Let's welcome up Mr. John Engstrom.
Good. Can everyone hear me now? Yeah, well,
Yep.
I want to thank and call out Chad for putting me in the magazine. It's also great to hear because I think it's like the more local poetry readings. I mean, these kinds of readings, you're likely to hear a lot of good work. So it's really nice to be included in this. So yeah, this is on the long side. It comes out of a poetry workshop exercise in ways that you can craft an ekphrastic poem, kind of poem that's contemplative of some object and views it from different angles. So this narrative is interspersed with instructions from that course. And the verses follow the instructions as if I were taking the class. And the poem is about a historical person who is a very local historical person, although I don't want to assume that everyone here is around here. But does, for any of you, the name of Lizzie Borden ring any bells? Yeah, I mean, you know who
She was
she
hot
was?
stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
okay.
yes.
You know, she was a well-to-do spinster in Fall River who was put on trial for brutally axe murdering her father and stepmother. Yeah, 40 whacks, the whole thing. So yeah, and she's local, but I mean, enough time has gone by since that event where she was acquitted and basically lived alone for the rest of her life. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's become legendary since then. You know, plays, operas, films have been made about her. There was one recently with Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart. You know, a lot of feminist theater is about her. So there's a lot, you know, she still gets a lot of play in the culture and what people are thinking about. So the title of this is Ekphrastic True Crime, from a class handout on ekphrastic poetry. As you begin to write your ekphrastic poems, consider the following approaches. Write about the scene or subject being depicted in the artwork. Lizzie Borden and her path to double hatchet murders in a 20th century opera that bears her name. Write in the voice of a person or object shown in the work of art. Lizzie, I was wronged. They, my parents who were also my jailers, robbed me of both my freedom and my rightful place in high society. I will be avenged ere I depart this house. I will use the hatchet Papa used when he chopped up my beloved powder pigeons. Hack, hack, snicker, snack. Write about your experience of looking at the art. Overwhelmed and unsettled by Lizzie Borden, A Family Portrait, a modern opera on TV at 11 years old in 1966. My parents let me watch anything, no matter how disturbing. Relate the work of art to something else it reminds you of. A Swedish movie in black and white about mental illness and sexual repression, starring Ingrid Thulin and many angst-ridden close-ups. Imagine what was happening when the artist was creating the piece. 2 deaths in the family, uncertain if premeditated or not. Write in the voice of the artist. Mater Dolorosa, a son of tears and lamentations, still racked with grief years later. Write a dialogue among characters in a work of art. Scene, facing banks of a narrow trickle of stream. 2 women in the clothes of different time frames dispose and disport themselves on either side. Hannah Duston wears Puritan dress and the date 1697 pinned to her white kerchief. The upscale apparel of Lizzie Borden, she who was banner headlined as the criminal suspect of 1892, the year of the murders, is a floor-length affair featuring those bloated mutton-like sleeves, her torso twisted into a death grip by the invisible stranglehold of the underlying corset. Lizzie to Hannah Duston. Hannah Duston, you are a class act. I had only 2 tatty parents to dispatch, but you hacked up a whole party of Algonquins and made off with their scalps. Cotton Mather sang your praises as a model of Puritan womanhood. Frontier Warharian, a most excellent handmaiden of God and symbol of our Christian faith's hallowed tradition of tolerating and encouraging bloodthirsty mass slaughter. No better way to show people you mean business than to smite them down in cold blood. Eliminating the competition has much to recommend it. Jolly good work. Hannah Duston. You were too kind, Mistress Borden, but I had the choice hand of God to uphold me through my hellish ordeal and to guide my hatchet job to its sanctified period. Those devils killed my babies. Blood must have blood. The more the merrier. Speak directly to the artists or subjects of the piece. Jack Beeson, your harrowing opera about a true crime fuses the existential anguish and isolation of the spinster protagonist with tortured sounds issuing from the damaged orchestra of musical expressionism. The suffering and darkness of the frightening sound world you create makes it all too understandable why Lizzie did what she did. Right in the person of an object or person portrayed in the artwork. I am the hatchet Lizzie uses to turn her parents into hamburger. Most of the time I reside on a wooden ledge in the barn where they keep tools and lumber. Most of the time I am put to innocuous uses. Most of the time I lead a quiet, neglected life. What Miss Borden did with me was not innocuous, it was felonious. When all this is over, I will get to be a permanent exhibit in a local history museum where the focus is on Fall River society of the 1890s and its response to the Borden murders. I will be attended to by kindly old ladies who are called museum docents. To keep my lonely steelhead company, they will put me alongside the historic tin dinner bucket in which gourmet meals went out daily from a swank hotel to keep the prisoner well fed throughout the humiliation of her time in custody. After her reddish dance of death with me as the advance guard, the teeth of her double-edged hit job, Lizzie broke my head off from the handle and burned the handle in the wood stove in the barn. I think she was trying to disperse and suppress evidence. But she's always so cold and cagey, you never know what she's up to. But I deserve a historic plaque at that old Borden address, since my knack for hacking into bone became a signature aspect of my skill set and vastly improved my potential to be employed by a reputable workplace. But in 1892, I was content to be Lizzie's device of destruction, to slay her elders, to disobey the Bible and dishonor her parents. Imagine a story behind what you see depicted in the piece. Andrew Borden, Lizzie's filthy rich and emotionally avoidant father by his first wife, Sarah Borden, who died young but left such a mark on the young Lizzie that as she grew up, she never forgot about her real mother and how different life would be were the woman still alive and around. Lizzie kept her ruminations alive even after Andrew remarried to a younger woman who lived with him and the two daughters in an alliance that was not only shaky, but often hostile and unpleasant. Andrew's career trajectory began with death and ended with real estate. In younger days, he made a tidy bundle off of coffins sold at a discount during the Civil War. You could say facetiously, cadavers were his bread and butter. He spent so much of his time trafficking with the dead, he was lost among the living. Speculate on why the artist created this work. Composer Jack Beeson and librettist Kenward Elmsley wanted to tear out and present the dripping heart of our tragic protagonist, like sacrificial priests eviscerating a captive. Mr. Beeson, your opera ends with street urchins serenading the acquitted but lonely spinster with the cruel rhyme about her and the axe and the 40 whacks, the one we have known since childhood. We know that story so far that down the ravine of our memories, we forget we knew about it at all. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Hmm.
And now I'd like to bring up Mr. John Wesick as we get closer to the end of the first round of this round robin.
Libel, not libel. Libel, to falsely and maliciously tear down President Trump's worldwide reputation for success, the New York Times decided to confront head-on what remains to this day one of the president's most well-known successes, in addition to his decades of magnificent real estate achievements, winning the presidency and then winning the presidency again. His remarkable performance as the star of The Apprentice, one of the top-rated shows of all time, and a trailblazer in American television. BBC falsely depicted President Trump telling supporters, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol and I'll be there with you, and we fight. Hey, we fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore." Wall Street Journal published an article that falsely claimed President Trump authored, drew, and signed a card to wish the late and utterly disgraced Jeffrey Epstein happy 50th birthday. Not libel. Crooked Hillary, Sloppy Steve, Sleepy Joe, Low Energy Jeb, Low IQ Warhawk, Sloppy Chris Christie, Slimeball James Comey, Lion Ted, Ron DeSanctimonious, Ditzy DeVos, Jeff Flakey, Al Frankenstein, Birdbrain, Comrade Kamala, Mondami the Commie, Fat Jerry, Wacky Omarosa, Governor Newscum, Little Mike Pence, Little Marco, Crazy Bernie, Adam Schiff, Fake Tears Chuck Schumer, Deranged Jack Smith, Marjorie Trader Greene, the seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Pocahontas, Low IQ Maxine Waters, Half Whitmer, Governor Trudeau, Dumb as a Rock Mike Maggot, Maggot Haberman, Marble Mouth Myers, Washed Up Psycho Bette Midler, George Slopadopoulos, Jeff Bozo, Horseface, Kung Flu, Deface the Nation, Gang of Treasonous Thugs, Fredo, Media Scum Reporter, Despicable and Incompetent Person I Wouldn't Trust Under Any Circumstances, Lightweight Thinker Who Doesn't Have a Clue, Dumbest Man on Television, Just a Con Man at Work. Good, I'm glad he's dead.
Nice use of that recently compiled information from the New York Times, sir. And up next, fresh off of hosting the Controverse open mic this past Monday, featuring Pastel Soup open micer Shannon O'Connor. Let's welcome up Anna Jeffrey.
Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? I hope we're all doing a great job not getting on lists this week. I'm trying. Anyway, I've got some new shit, and I went a little dark on this one, so I am actually gonna trigger warning this for sexual assault. Not super explicit, but got dark. The title is Land of the Free Use. America got back with her abusive ex-husband, and he doesn't even care, passes her off to be fucked by his emerald-eyed best friend of the moment. She just wanted to be great again. She tried to make it work with a nice guy, but her wandering eye caught up with her at the 4-year itch, considered a switch to some stripes of rainbow, pink, blue, and purple, but she has yet to kiss a girl and like it, and she just wants to be great again. He invites the boys to break out their Sharpies. Jerry's tracing meandering lines across her flesh, taking territory, staking claims, ceding less and less, tearing up her dress, swear she's pretty, enforced pregnancy, mascara running, makeup smeared on administrative warrants spread on Lincoln's bed like sheets. She somehow imagines the wolf whistles are compliments. He tells her she'll be great again. He's an alpha, a sigma. She insists with his shit staining her resolution, shit-eating grin as he bulldozes her bedroom. America can't be bothered to cry for the kids. He hits, rips the doors off their hinges, the people thrown in cages, puts her in the corner, keeps the wallet from her, takes whatever he wants, and promises her if she keeps her legs open and her legs closed. Sorry, her legs open and her eyes closed, she'll be great again. The I think it's Local Gems Press has a call for submissions for America's 250th. And I don't know if you've seen this, but the page describing it is like celebrating America in all caps and italics. And I think that's
Wow.
because all of us
Hmm.
are writing stuff like this right now.
No.
You gotta try and send
They
that
would
in to
get
get
something different
rejected,
to
or
sell.
I mean, it might be fun to get the little, stamp on my bingo card.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a
And
bucket
what's up with?
list.
Oh,
Everyone's got a bucket list. And
hmm.
everyone's got a fuck it list. That might check off both boxes and boxes in both those lists. And up next, to close out the first round of round robin one, let's welcome up. Check out his column, which is definitely going to be up on oddballmagazine.com by 11 tomorrow. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Loy.
Thanks, Chad. So I have a poem here. It's called Time to Get the Mass Age Massage. It was so obvious over a century ago that the modern age had gone oh so mass. Yet the mass did not ever seem to equal the gravity of the sad situational pseudo effect. There we were, as usual, normal, permanently, adrift as they keep telling us in a telling way. You'll never win. You're just a bunch of losers, no matter how clearly it was all unsustainable. But we're at the other end of time again now. This universe of dark matter and dark energy, all that can't be seen, this determinate force that creates bright, blinding galaxy, black holes, spinning wheels of thermonuclear angel choirs and holes in the deep, dark gravitational matrix. Oh, that will never happen, they keep on saying. We come to the other end of cosmic change. The old days are sure gone forever. But revolution, once so seeming imminent in the end of the last crisis, is now every day. The monuments that keep falling, mass movement gone global, just grows and grows. Well, I was feeling sad and feeling blue. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Them communists was coming around. They was in the air. They was in the ground, and they wouldn't give me no peace. So I run down most hurriedly and joined up with the John Birch Society. I got me a secret membership card and started off walking down the road. Yee-hoo! I'm a real John Bircher now. Look out, you commies. Now we'll all agree with Hitler's views. Although he killed 6 million Jews, it don't matter too much that he was a fascist. I guess you can't say he was a communist. That's to say, like if you got a cold, you take a shot of malaria. Well, I was looking everywhere for them Galdern Reds. I got up in the morning and looked under my bed, and I looked in the sink and behind the door and looked in the glove compartment of my car, couldn't find them. I was looking high and low for them Reds. I was looking in the sink and under the chair. I looked way up my chimney hole. I looked deep down my toilet bowl. They got away. Well, I was sitting home alone and started to sweat. Figured they was in my TV set. Peep behind the picture frame, got a stack from my right up into my brain. Them Reds caused it. I know they did. The hardcore kind ones. Well, I quit my job. I couldn't work. And then I changed my name to Sherlock Holmes. Followed some clues from my detective bag and discovered they was red stripes on the American flag. That old Betsy Ross. Well, I investigated all the books in the library. 90% of them got to be burned away. I investigated all the people that I know. 98% of them got to go. The other two are Birchers, just like me. Now, Eisenhower, he's a Russian spy. Lincoln Jefferson and that Roosevelt guy. To my knowledge, there's just one man that's really a true American. That's George Lincoln Rockwell. I know for a fact he hates commies because he picketed the movie Exodus. Well, I finally started thinking straight when I own out of things to investigate. Couldn't imagine doing anything else. So now I'm sitting home investigating myself. Hope I don't find anything. Oh God. Oh God, y'all. Oh God. And that's, of course, Bob Dylan's the John Birch Society Paranoid Blues that have now taken over the White House. Thank you.
It doesn't feel too poetic, though. That's my only thought. And now we pass go, collect $200 in spirit, and go back to our first poet to start the second round robin. Welcome back, Rita.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, there's so many things to read and so many wonderful poems tonight and everything. And I want to give Oddball another shout. Several years ago, I was published there too. And this great artist, oh my God, Joel Haber, I think, what a job he did in interpreting my poem. And so I'm going to read it again. And it's about a poet that I met when I was a child. You know, my dad knew this guy. And when he walked around, or whether he was in my dad's car or we walked to the bar, uh, of course, I had to sit somewhere else in the bar. He wore these pink girly slippers. So this is my poem. I'll just revise it tonight. It's called Transcending Generations. And just so you know, it's about Jack Kerouac. On the road in his pink girly slippers and Japanese kimono, Canadian club in hand, and snapping his fingers to jazz, he saunters to Washington Square Park. And on a converging road, wearing fringe moccasins, I trot along McDougal Street, browse head shops along Bleecker, and humming a popular tune, I then come to rest on a boulder just beyond the men playing chess in Washington Square. And I strum my folk guitar with resolve and mushroom to enhance creativity, he offers. And I sing the blues all the while, intrigued by him and his black shades, black Japanese kimono, black beret, and a roll of nickels bulging from pocket. And I am charmed by his toe tapping and feathery pink slippers, bopping head and finger popping. And he exclaims, "Good beat, man, really beat." And his shy eyes study my psychedelic hippie threads and seed bees and groovy man, I reply, plucking a 12-bar beat. And he raises a paper cup to my lips, and I swig the sweet whiskey, and he flashes his blue eyes. "Beatific man, you wail, nickel for your thoughts." And hand in hand we stroll, beat the gravel to burn like a yellow Roman candle. Thank you.
Rita. I think we have another round of visual / digital poetry with your favorite visual poet from Lewis, Delaware, and mine, Mr. Robert Fleming.
Thank you, Chad. So I'm going to share my next visual work, which will be published. It is going to be in the magazine The House of Long Shadows, which is a goth magazine. So I only submitted black and white image, and just like Oddball, they pair a text work with a visual work. This is an image I scraped from the internet of the desert of the Sahara Desert, and here is a black and white image I created of it, which will be up in the early part of May, and then the desert is on the left and my image is on the right, and I will be paid $10 for this publication and will be able to go to McDonald's and have my favorite breakfast there. I'm also going to share my other two submissions for the Massachusetts Poetry Competition. This is the sonnet the sonnet submission. Cheese sonnet number 263. When you swallow Swiss cheese wholes, you are holy. Eat Havarti trenches on Triscuits. You won't have to church. Invite neutral Switzerland to a blue cheese rally. Don't bite Gouda cavities. Eat string cheese ocean perch. Cheese Whiz is not cheese because there are rules for what's cheese. Spell it whiz, or don't spell or use spell checker. Spray or glass bottle orangey whizzy your colon into a freeze. Wisconsin women's breast Parmesan cheese tate into nectar. It's greed and envy to insert mozzarella into sloth foods. Wrath is squeezing American cheese into cheese sticks. Serve jalapeno pride poppers on Gluttony Doilies Dude. To reduce chastity, increase lust with camembert crucifixes. At a birth, serve cream cheese on poppy seed bagels. At a death, pierce half-white bread into cheddar fondue finagle. And the last one is free verse, which I will submit as this one. Pausing at Playlanda Beach, Florida. Robert Frost, walk with me. We are rangers with the same first name. Choose the road splits together. You tire of the New Hampshire Appalachian Trail. The Florida beaches it is. The beachers expose their parts. How unlike the sand is to Vermont's long trail. After 100 steps, Robert crosses his legs. Even the dead have to pee. Batman whizzes on the grains. I am too shy. You can wee in the sea or piss on a palm tree. There are more choices on a beach than in a forest. I chose the fork in the woods. Where should I piddle? Returning to life is weary. With only a day pass, I must return to Old Bennington Cemetery. Visit me at my plot when you take your last step. Tinkle your ashes on my lawn. Thank you, and that completes what will be my submission for the Massachusetts Poetry Olympics.
Sorry about that. Had to fix my camera. Who do we have next? I'm hoping we didn't have. We're losing people. People are dropping like flies. People, flies. I think. I'd like to. Too bad we lost John Engstrom, but maybe he felt like he went enough for both rounds. But I liked his longer poem. If Jackie's still here, she can go.
I can get one. Okay, it's working out. A respite from the workout. Breathe, breath, pattering. A driving force forward, complete, relishing, and remembering. They say it's a requiem, shamed for remembrance of physical totality. And those voids, the instructions, only nooks and crannies deliver, needs apply, apologizing for including you in the deconstruction, staving off. They're no longer here, nor you peering in. Did you? That's it. That was working out.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you much. Let's go back to Jen Rowe. maybe with more tales of the halcyon days of being across from the barking crab and never being able to afford a food there. Anyway, offer to you.
Right. But this one is actually from Speak Neighbor, which is the Cathedral of St. Paul's. It's like a quarterly. And this is a real letter I sent to Amtrak. Customer satisfaction on the Floridian, replacing the Capital Limited. I have ridden the Capital Limited since DC got transit trains, and I could leave my old car at the most eastern stop. I enjoyed the old observation cars where you could see the tunnel name and the year of construction and the wonderful history teller, Harper's Ferry, John Brown, and the first time troops were moved by train. I have written notes from these trips. I enjoyed the new observation cars to watch the mist rising from the Youghiogheny after we boarded at Connellsville, PA, and started the ascent about 7 a.m. But this time ascending at 10 a.m., 3 hours late, the river mist long gone. We were greeted by name, and I hoped for a riverside seat. Staff put us on the non-riverside seat. And Andrew, the Navy vet that boarded with us at the mountain base, had no window at all. We had thought the river might be soothing after the 3 hour delay. The Capital Limited used to board by destination. However, when I went to the cafe car, as observation cars with downstairs cafe were removed to the west. So on the Floridian, there were several empty seats riverside, and some of the DC destination people were in a car with empty seats with water views. Then another nearly empty car. We easily could have had our desired river view. I did happen to see where the water flow direction changes from going to the Mississippi or to the Atlantic. I also happened to see, I think, the tunnels across the Potomac River of Paw Paw, West Virginia. I know that Trump's first administration had put a retired railroad CEO in charge of the railroads, and that the trains were lengthened to perhaps 3 miles and the staffing reduced to one. In 2017, I was on the first train through the Hinman, PA, Bedford County derailment of 32 cars, many not supposed to be connected. Some of them not even supposed to be there. I was sitting with 6 Amish stair-step kids in the observation. We saw all these cars laying around. They wanted to give more money to the CEOs, so they cut railroad staff 30%. And in the mountains, there's no cell phone. So Hinman got a cell phone tower 3 years later. So firefighters, ambulance crews, school buses were blocked by these long trains. Last week, a rail worker's leg was amputated. Derailment of grain car and collusion with oil tanker. You can watch them online. So since this administration seems to enjoy cruelty, meanness, malignant narcissism, and they have all the money, all we can control is our reaction. I try to treat others as I would like. I'm also concerned about Amtrak staff. Some are concerned about the millions dollars Amtrak has lost with these delays. And often it takes money to make it. I will not ride that Floridian again. Andrew, the Navy vet, sat in a cafe drinking several miniature gin and tonics. This could have happened on the observation car with the cafe downstairs. However, there is something about out of sight, out of mind. The alcohol and delay got to him. He argued and threatened fellow passengers. He was put off the train at Rockville, Maryland. When we boarded in DC en route to Connellsville, the train had become full. Autos are increasingly unaffordable. I know 3 people who just became enslaved to debt to replace their cars. Amtrak passengers gave up seats without being asked, as an Amish couple, babe in arms, 2 little kids, boarded 3 hours late, Cumberland, Maryland. When we were in Europe last year, The train under the channel caught fire, had to be evacuated. Another train, it only took an hour. This was 3 hours and nothing wrong. So I hope the Capital Limited returns, just Chicago to DC instead of Chicago, Florida. Meanwhile, we can only control our reactions. In short, kindness pays. Thank you. My letter to Amtrak. They sent me a coupon. I don't want a coupon. I want the Capital Limited.
Oh my. Well, good luck with that, and you're off to a good start to get something aside from a coupon. Let's go back to Richard Spizak.
Thank you so much. Trigger warning for this is a very sexual poem. It's called The Bee's Knees. Pretty as you please, not one, not two or three. You've six to admire and wonder there, yes sirree, that is goddamn fire. Not just delicate, lovely and shiny, then right there above them, that velvet stripy honey. Made for scurrying from petal to petal, blessed by more curves than a comic book of heavy metal. Now, I'm not just talking about a bouncing bee behind, not any kind of average, let's not be savage, a behind's a behind. But these cutesy bee knees, if you please, it's positively anti-allergenic, if you know what I mean. Because driving all that shaking, guiding that heady dance, is a beautiful mind that came from study and spirit, my friend, not by chance. Bees knees. I hope that was not too salacious. I don't want to be bammed in Boston.
No, but people should check out Oddball Magazine because we posted poetry and art from very well-known erotic writer and visual artist Bill Wallach, who has contributed a lot of pieces of various erotica and non-erotica. This falls in the former category, and I couldn't post it, but I did post it as a link to on Facebook, but it got struck down pretty quickly. So if you want to find out what was too hot for Facebook, check it out. And I'm sure Jason Wright will call me later on tomorrow to yell, "What did you put up there today?" We're 501. We can't. We're not currently, but anyway, let us go now to. Oh, well, John is already come and gone. So that's John Engstrom. So we go now to John Wesick without the H.
Hi. Robert's poem kind of reminded me of another one called Unsung Cheeses by Brendan Constantine. And Brendan is the actor Michael Constantine's son. And Michael Constantine is the guy in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And I put a little excerpt of it. Cheeses of Nazareth is sort of like my favorite. Favorite line from that. Anyway, I've got a new story up. It's called 51 Leap Street. I'll read you a little bit of the introduction. Class, please welcome a new student, Morris Pillbottle, transferred from Somerville High. My belly had grown too large for my neon windbreaker, and I barely squeezed into the chair. At least my parachute pants still fit. Why does he smell like booze? A red-haired girl wearing her boyfriend's leather jacket asked. It's a medical condition called autobrewery syndrome. Yeast in my digestive tract breaks down complex carbohydrates, creating ethanol, carbon dioxide, and esters. Realizing I was treading on nerd territory, I belched. See what I mean? How come he has a 5 o'clock shadow? A guy in a Celtic sweatshirt asked. I got held back, okay? Why does he have a double chin? Take a chill pill. Mom doesn't believe in iodized salt, I said. Someone please fill Morris in on the assignment after class. The teacher wrote equations on the blackboard. Last time we developed formulas for adding sines and cosines. Boring! If I was to infiltrate the gang of school vandals, I needed to appear like a rebel. How will anyone use this stuff in real life? Well, if you're an engineer, trigonometry lets you decompose forces into vector components, the student said. For example, you might want to find the horizontal tension on a guy wire. You can use formulas to show how AM radio produces two sidebands, the redhead added. In fact, you can write all radio signals as a sum of sines and cosines. Eat my shorts! I closed my notebook. Principal's office now! The teacher shouted. My back went out when I stood. Anyway, I will post a link to the story in the chat. I'm taking some improv classes for the next couple of months, so you might not see very much of me at Stone Soup. But anyway, you can read the story online. Thanks.
Well, thanks. You'll be missed, and come back when you can.
And if
That's
you're
all I
not
got.
missed, you can sublimate and turn into crystal.
There you go. Wait, what? Okay. Anna Jeffrey, returning
Yeah.
with new shit or old shit made new or what
Old,
have you.
old shit that got some edits, so a polished shit. This one is titled Awake Walking 2. I think to be awake is to be crying all the time because I cannot imagine facing the world as it is, dry-eyed, not some tiny sliver, not what you can see between the blinders, but all of it, everything outside the daily grind, every crack in the pavement, every blood stain and splinter, every bloom and snail and couple sitting on the balcony smoking, every dying breath, squeal of joy, hug, kiss, stab, crash the machine, willing a dead body to hold on past all hope of being awake itself, the taste of fruit in high summer, the smell of basil and cooking alliums, fireflies and fireworks and fire trucks screaming by, every dancing leaf and garbage bag. To be awake is to be exhausted, overwhelmed, heart bleeding, ears ringing. What hubris! What a mad woman must I be to imagine I could survive even a moment of being awake to everything. Grief cracks a hole in your heart, and there's no shame in trying to plaster it up, but some wounds don't leave scars, they leave piercings, and though I've learned to dress it, committed myself to my daily care, filled up my bookshelf of the self with more than just the sadness, I find myself still sometimes awake walking, soul dilated, veil lifted, eyes all the way open, lucid, aware of every footstep and parking meter, shiny rock and piece of litter, trying to function without a filter. The world is larger than you can hold, and so small, grieving people tend to go wandering. Sometimes they are asleep, but sometimes they are awake walking, and the difference is not as much as you might imagine. It's just everything, like having your skin ripped off, everything exposed to the elements, everything finding a nerve with a direct pipeline to your brain, everything in the same bucket overflowing, everything feeling like a curtain call or a beginning, a first breath, a small step, a little death, everything purposeful, powerful, prophetic, rambling, heart-rending, world-ending. I'm somehow still alive in the pyre, and I can feel everything.
Nice edits. And now we bring it. Oh, and John left. Oh, no, there he is. Someone looks like one other person left. But anyway, more on that. Let's close. Let's get to the end with Mr. James Van Loy one more time. There we are.
Okay. All right. So I have a poem called What Else Would You Do? Rise early in the morning before sunrise. File up the hill to the stone carved with triple, double spirals. Pass around it and under the entrance with the lintel above to march between the carved curves of the long stone walls of Passage Cave to the center of old Mama Earth, the womb of the hill. To wait for the wane sun of the shortest day to finally line up with the lintel to slowly creep down the tunnel, to enlighten the inner chamber, to enlighten us all there in that scandal of our electric time complete darkness. When from this absence of light comes the baby, who is the only one who can possibly save us, and from this silence comes the hallelujah chorus, as from this absence of light in the night comes peace. And I see him now, as I draw Botticelli's labyrinth on the black asphalt sidewalk of the common with yellow chalk, and it's this little person, this guy going by who starts following the arching coils of my half-finished design, and he gets it totally and refuses to be coached away by his now puzzled, then exasperated parents. Oh, how can you find a place to say what is not allowed to be said? How can you speak with a heckler right up in your face? What do you do with interjections meant only to distract? Who can withstand the lance that penetrates the weakest point? And here's a song to go with it. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday you'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind you, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I? Peace.
And with that, April is nearly over. We've all nearly survived. Thank you all for coming to Stone Soup during April. Thank you for all throwing your own events, submitting your own poems, sending them out, publishing, sharing. And I think we got to do more of that next month because Stone Soup's 55th is happening. We chime it in with Harris Gardner. More people to be added and finalized to the May roster.
Oh,
Hoping to
Chad,
make the
I
first
wanted
of
to
those
say,
announcements later.
Hope
Chad, I
your
wanted to
partner
say,
gets better.
Chad, I just wanted to say, that the birthday is actually on May 1st, and they are making
Yes.
a big thing out of it this year. So anybody who can get out there and be a part of the events that are going to take place, and people are actually trying to control a sort of a general strike where people will not take part in basically in the economy uh, during the day. So I'm going to have to write something about Jack and um, on May Day, International Workers' Day.
Let me
Thank you.
know. Let me know what you come up with. I'd love to see it. Do what you guys can on the first. Most of all, stick together. Take care of yourselves. Take care of someone else. If you're able to, we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Check out the Stone Soup Facebook group. Some announcements are being. I'll do some calls for publications where I find them. Going to be busy. I'll be announcing possibly a new issue of something. You have no idea what it is, but or you've forgotten. I will remind you, and hopefully get that done. Thank you so much. It can be like this every week. All we need is you. As they say, the show's over. See you next time. Have a good night.